Are you running a marathon? Oh, I could never run a marathon. Are you sure about that? A marathon? That's like 42 kilometers, 26 miles. I don't understand most people. That used to be me.
But not anymore. Welcome to the Marathon Podcast. My name is Kristian. Warwick runs on Instagram, YouTube. Really happy to have you here for this last solo episode before the Marathon Podcast. It's funny when you're running a podcast because you do get a lot of nice messages, some nice comments. Today I got one of those not so nice ones, but honestly, it just makes you laugh a little bit. It was from Jessica, who wrote that it was the first time listening to this podcast, and that was an hour of her life that she wouldn't get back, and that it was a painful listen. I'm very sorry, Jessica, for disappointing you with the one of the first solo episodes about the Boston Marathon. I hope that everyone else who listened to it didn't feel like Jessica, and that you feel like this Boston series has been something that you learned from or that you found to be useful. In today's episode, I thought I would answer some of you guys' questions. Actually, I got some today. I also want to kind of share my tips and advice on the Boston Marathon. Quickly go through the course again for those of you who haven't listened to the previous episodes. It's not going to be as thorough, so if you want to really have that super thorough walkthrough, just head back to some of the previous episodes. I will obviously also take you through my race strategy, my pacing strategy for the Boston Marathon, and also how I'm feeling, and kind of reveal what John thinks I'm good for. So that is the plan for this episode. I hope you'll stick around. I do believe that this can be like a great episode to listen to now that we are just 5 days away from the Boston Marathon 2026. We'll obviously also touch on the weather, but that's kind of a given when we're talking about the Boston Marathon. Before we start this episode, I would like to just remind you that we have a Shakeout on Sunday at 9 a.m. at Tate Bakery and Cafe. Everyone's welcome. There will be free marathon hats for the first 50 to show up. Might have some more hats. We'll see. And really, really grateful to the indie boys, Brendan, Rob, and Mark, for joining me on this. And can't believe how many of you guys have already signed up on the Strava event. If you head over to the Strava event, you will see a link there where you can pre-order your coffee. And we are trying to make this as good of a Shakeout experience as possible. We really wanted to leave this Shakeout feeling like this was worth spending your Sunday morning doing. Before we dive into everything Boston, I thought we would start with the course preview, and I'm gonna cheat a little bit here and just give you the short preview that I made before the Boston Marathon last year when I drove through the course. So here is 10 minutes of a walkthrough of the Boston Marathon course with some music to it. Are you running the Boston Marathon on Monday? Well, I have some advice for you. I drove through the course 2 days ago, and I was surprised. I mean, I've heard a lot about the course, and I thought I had an overview of this course just because I've been watching videos, I've been listening to podcasts, and really felt like I've been studying the Boston Marathon course. So here are some things that I learned, and this is how it affected my race plan.
This world will be starting on Monday.
So first of all, obviously Hopkinton, it's gonna be a crazy atmosphere in the start area, Athletes Village, when you get there. And as you approach the start line, you know that you're gonna go downhill.
Making of the start is the first part of the marathon.
The first mile, yes, it's gonna be a lot of downhill running.
It is downhill. Yes, we can confirm.
It's definitely good downhill here.
But don't be surprised when you hit what you will kind of feel like are hills.
This is half a mile in.
Uphill running. Rolling hills are actually a part of
the first 45 miles of the Boston Marathon.
You wish you could run it?
Absolutely not.
And although we're being told that it's a lot of downhill running for the first 45 miles, it's actually quite a lot of ups and downs. And so this was something that really surprised me and made me change the view of the course completely. Another thing was that as soon as we get out of these rolling hills or the downhill section, it's so flat.
It's been pretty flat now for some time, so that seems nice. The downhill maybe is more sneaky than it looks, in a way, if that makes sense.
I did not know that Boston was so flat for such a big part of the whole course. Obviously rolling hills here and there, but mostly fairly flat. So prepare yourself to go downhill, kind of just roll through those rolling hills. And so when you get through those downhill sections after 45 miles, try to find your marathon pace, maybe chase it back, and just keep a steady pace throughout the flat parts of the course. And honestly, although there are rolling hills throughout the course, you will feel like you're running mostly flat all the way up until at least half marathon.
Porter putties. Porter what?
Porter steakies.
And when you reach the half marathon, you'll reach the Wellesley Scream Tunnel. Fun fact about this one, up until Wednesday when I was driving through this course, I actually thought that it was a real tunnel.
What is that you said?
Wellesley College.
The tunnel is called the Wellesley Scream Tunnel because the college students at Wellesley are forming a tunnel and they're screaming and you can hear them from miles away.
Do we have your permission to kiss other girls?
Definitely not.
I'm really excited to get to the Wellesley Scream Tunnel because I know that that's gonna be lit.
Downhill.
And after the Scream Tunnel, you're starting your descent down again, and eventually you'll get to the steepest downhill section of the course.
Pretty steep one.
This is just after 15 miles, just before 16, where the first Newton Hill starts.
So when you see this, just about to enter Newton, and that's also where the first hill starts.
So the Newton Hills are 4 hills, and I don't think that they are as intimidating as people make them out to be.
Illusional, because it doesn't look like much, but it's much harder than you would think it is.
So it might be that you feel like this is not a hill at all, but as you're in it, you will feel like, okay, this is definitely a hill. My strategy on this is just to keep the targeted effort pace, not try to overthink the pace that you're actually having.
We're reaching the top, and then we'll start heading down again. And this is where you'll do a sharp right, and then right into the second hill. Ooh. I think you'll feel this one.
The second hill is the one that I'm dreading the most. That is the one that I think will be the hardest one to get through. I think that the reason why these hills are so hard or considered so hard is more about where in the course they are placed rather than how big or long or hard the hills are by themselves. So compared to the hills that I've been training in at home, this is actually nothing. That does not mean that you shouldn't respect them.
See you struggling.
Cyclists are struggling and we're on.
Between each hill, you have quite a lot of time to recover. Make sure that you're not overdoing it because you know that you will have another hill coming soon.
Third hill.
Third hill.
Not a
Celebrate
big one.
you.
It's quite small.
Yeah, it's a pretty small one.
But maybe still a little gradual as you go.
It's probably gonna feel longer when you run it.
The third hill is one of the hills that I didn't even feel like was a hill. And then you get to Heartbreak Hill, and I was really expecting that one to be crazy.
I feel like getting pulled over.
Shit. So here we go. Up here.
I was surprised by the fact that it was not super steep, not super long. I just think that this also is a result and a consequence of the previous 3 hills and the previous 20.5 to 21 miles that you have in your legs at this point.
Apparently we are done with Heartbreak Hill already.
Not so much of a long hill, but it's probably just at such a crucial time that you're in pain.
I'm really excited to get to the top of Heartbreak Hill because I know that at that point, it's all downhill until Beacon Street.
And we're turning.
You run downhill, and obviously you need to try to save your energy. Your quads might be super tired. You might feel like your legs are shaking, and then you take a sharp left turn, and then it's almost straight all the way to Boylston Street.
Flat stretch.
Don't let this fool you, because it might feel like you're getting closer to Boston and you might see that sit-go sign in front of you. But the thing is that even though you see the sit-go sign, it will feel like an eternity to get to that sign. So you have to just take one step at a time, but there's gonna be a crowd carrying you through all the way through Brookline and into Boston.
Sit-go sign is getting closer.
And then as you're approaching this bridge where it says Boston Strong, you know that you're getting closer. And you'll get to this little tunnel and in and onto Boylston Street. And that is when I've been told to really just enjoy the moment and enjoy the crowd, because that is gonna be a moment to cherish for forever. And that's the finish line. And so what does this whole thing mean for my race plan for the Boston Marathon 2025? Since I know that the first miles will be chaotic and I don't want to rely on the drinking stations, I'm going to bring a water bottle with me that I'm going to keep in my hands for the first couple of miles, and then I'm going to throw that away. And then I'll start using the drinking stations. I'm also going to bring gels with me and not rely completely on the stations that are along the course, especially since there are only a couple of them. Because I feel like I'm a fairly good downhill runner, I'm probably going to go a little bit faster than marathon pace on the first downhill sections, not a lot. So in kilometer pace, I'm aiming at somewhere between 4 and 4:10. We'll see what kind of day I have, but if I am at 3:55 in the downhill sections, I'm definitely okay with that, because I know that that doesn't really take that much. I met someone yesterday who told me that I have a great advantage having been a speed skater, because my quads will probably handle the downhill sections better than a lot of other people. I hope that's the case. It's also my first time running a major. The marathons that I've done solo, so it's been kind of just me and the elements. And I'm really curious about how much getting backs and just chasing those will affect my running. But I will try to have a steady pace from 4 to 5 miles on, get a very easy journey to the hills. I'm really hoping that I can have some more energy, some more power to just grind the last 5 miles. And so when I get to the top of Heartbreak Hill, I hope that I have the energy and the legs to just keep on going and handle those, like attack those downhill sections, and then throughout the flat sections of Beacon Street, just keep a steady pace and push myself. I know that although I'm saying that I want to have the energy in the legs, I'm gonna be so tired. It's gonna be so painful. I'm running a marathon. I know that after 20 miles, it's gonna hurt. It hurts for all of us. But then it's all about putting your hand on that stovetop and see who can hold it there for the longest. Because that is what this last 10 kilometers, last 5 to 6 miles is all about. Kind of handling that pain and pushing yourself. I'm very optimistic for Monday. I think that for me, it's all about being a bit defensive in the beginning, and actually all the way until the top of Heartbreak Hill. Not defensive as in going as slow as I can or anything like that, but just not push anything and try to gain more there. Because I honestly think that if I go out too hard and I'm dead beat at 21 miles, I'm gonna lose so much. So it's much better to do a progressive negative split throughout the race. I think that if you approach it in the right way, you can definitely get a PR. I think that it could be a course that is super fast, but it really depends on how you approach it, how you handle it, and what your strategy is. If you haven't been through the course already, it's really important to know about this first 4 to 5 miles. Don't expect it to be all downhill. Don't be shocked when you get to those rolling hills and actually some sections of going a little bit up. Hold back and just know that after 4 to 5 miles, there's gonna be a lot of flat. It looks like we're gonna have great weather, guys. I am so excited. If you're running on Monday, good luck. I hope to see you there. And I'm just super stoked about the 129th Boston Marathon.
So now that we have this behind us, all the full course, I think it's time to talk about my own strategy for this year. Because last year, although I felt like I came prepared, I felt like I was really aware of the hills, how hard they would be. I still ended up feeling like I went out a bit too aggressively in the beginning. I think that for this year's Boston Marathon, I'm going to try to be a bit more reserved in the beginning, try to make sure that I am not necessarily banking time, try to feel like I'm running at my targeted pace and not much faster than that. And I guess that leads me to like what my goal is, what I'm aiming at time-wise. And for me this year, it's been a bit of a rocky build. It's not been great, but I'm still hoping and I still believe that I will be able to run around my PR, which is 2:47. That is based on my last long run and the things that I've been doing in training over the last few weeks. I still think that that's very ambitious. I think that running around like 4 flat pace is gonna be hard for me. But at the same time, I also know that a lot has happened like in 1 week throughout these last 4 weeks. And last Friday when I was having my long run, I felt so good at like 4 to 3:53 pace. So maybe that 3:55 pace could be realistic. We'll see. As for what John thinks, Jonathan Green, my coach, he thought that I was good enough for a 2:40 to 2:41, which he asked me what I thought about that, and I said that that's very like ambitious, more than I thought that would be realistic to do, and I would be super, super happy with that. So he kind of wants me to go out and see if like 350 feels okay. I think that 350 in the downhill section there will feel okay for me. I feel like that's not going to be too hard on my legs, on my quads, and that's not blowing my capacity. And hopefully I can get down the first downhill section with a 350 pace and still feel good when I get down to the more flat parts. So my strategy is to listen to my body. So like I said, 350 pace down the first downhill section and then take it from there. I am totally fine running like 4 flat for a long time, maybe to Heartbreak Hill. And if I have something more to give, just try to push through the last 10K and run faster at the end. I think that it's important to kind of remember that Boston, I've had someone on the podcast saying that Boston is a 20-mile warm-up for a 10K race. And I think that's such a great metaphor, like great way of looking at it. And I hope that that's the way I can look at it as well for this year's Boston Marathon. If I was in better shape, I would have been able to risk it more. I really don't want to risk it. I don't want to be dead early on in the race. But I'm also really curious about what my legs will feel like come race day. Because today I had my last kind of workout. I did 5x and 4x400. And I was supposed to have 347 to 342 pace. I was able to hit that pace, but it still felt much harder than it should feel like. I thought that, I don't know, like, you have expectations for how it's going to feel, and you feel like that it should be fairly easy at that pace. But then you get to the workout itself and you're like, it didn't work out. And honestly, I was a bit bummed out today. I have been preaching to other people and to myself that taper week is taper week, and however you feel that week doesn't really matter. And I stand by that, but it's hard to kind of, it's a hard it's a hard thing to face just 6 days out from the race, and I really wish that I had a better experience. But then again, I still a bit jet lagged. Today was almost 90 degrees Fahrenheit, super hot. That's the warmest I've been running in a very long time. We have not seen anything like that in Norway in a long time, that's for sure. Just give me a second, I have to close these windows. And I think that the reason why this bothers me a little bit more than it usually does is that I don't feel like we've been tapering. But yes, a little bit of jet lag, the heat today, and also tired from that long run on Friday. It's only Tuesday today, so although I said we're 5 days out from Boston, we're 6 days out, like for me right now. I think that all of that combined is kind of just, it does make sense that pace feels hard. And so I really hope that come race day, that is also a pace that could almost be realistic for me. I know that like anything faster than 350 pace is not going to be my marathon pace, but I still would love to feel like that is a pace that I have easy access to, if that makes sense. I'm sorry about the noise here, if you can hear it. I think that this is actually a great transition into the weather for the Boston Marathon. Because if you're like me and like any other Boston Marathon runner, you've probably been checking the weather forecast every day for the last week or so, maybe even more. And now that we're so close to the race, it probably feels a bit more realistic. It feels like it's more legit, whatever you're seeing. I don't want to be like the party pooper saying that the tailwind that it looks like we're getting now, or the 30 to 40 degree start temperature that we're looking at, is not going to happen. But weather here is unpredictable. Today it's been sunny. It's been, like I said, almost 90 degrees. The reason I had to close the windows is just because it's all of a sudden a full storm out here. Kristian just got in here. She picked up her raincoat because it's pouring down and it's windy. I did not know that we were going to get this, but this is what can happen here in New England, and it happens like in a matter of seconds. And with that, obviously, like, you can look at the weather forecast. It will give you a little something, I guess, but also it's unpredictable. So I think that it's really important that if you are traveling to Boston anytime this week, and you're like looking at the weather forecast and you're like, okay, I only have to bring this and that, please make sure you're covered for Athletes Village, for the race itself. It could be really cold on that day. It could be raining. Worst case scenario, we'll see some snow. And I would hate for you to kind of just look at the weather forecast today and be like, oh, shorts and a t-shirt or a singlet is fine. These things could actually change. So with the weather, the way it's looking right now, yes, it's looking pretty ideal. I really hope that is the weather we really are looking at, but I'm not sure if that is something that I would rely on. And I was talking to Christine, who grew up here just earlier today, and she said it's still too early. You can start looking maybe this weekend on Saturday or Sunday. It will be a bit more clear, and it makes sense, because if I look back at the last 2 or 3 days when I've been looking, I've been seeing a lot of different weather forecasts for Marathon Monday. You know, this series I've been trying to take you guys through Boston, trying to make you understand what it's like, and I've only done this race once, and I feel like I got that true experience last year, but there are a lot of things that I don't necessarily know, but I've been trying to take you through the things that I at least know. And I really hope that it's been helpful. I really hope that the guests that have been on here have helped you understand more about the Boston Marathon, understand more about how to fuel correctly. We've had dedicated episodes on fueling for the Boston Marathon. As for my fueling strategy, it's just like having a gel every 20 minutes. I will start with a bottle with some Morton drink mix in it, so that I have that and throw that away after a few Ks or a couple of miles. But yeah, we've had a lot of people on here talking about their experiences, giving their advice. And I just want to say thank you to the ones listening, obviously, but also guesting the Marathon podcast online and sharing that. And so this episode is not going to be super long. I thought I would answer some of you guys' questions and also kind of give you a little bit of an advice at the end on what to do in Boston on marathon weekend and how I would solve it depending on what situation you find yourself in terms of racing, fun running, or just enjoying the Boston experience. But first, let's have a look at a couple of the questions that you guys sent to me before the race or earlier today. I think that it's let's see here. First one that we have is from Cindy. Cindy is a friend of the pod. She's been on the podcast, and she was asking me here, Ginger Gone Running, for those of you who are familiar with that Instagram account. She was asking me, how are you celebrating? And I assume, Cindy, that you're asking how I'm celebrating after the race. And I'm lucky enough to have a lot of family here in Boston, so we're gonna go over to Kristian's sister's house. I will probably hang around the Finnish area for a little while after, depending on how many people I connect with over the weekend. I would also love to go down to Tracksmith to get my poster with my time. But yeah, we'll probably go hang out at Kristian's sister's house. I'm usually so tired after. There's not like big celebration. I'm not one of those who are super into drinking a beer after. Maybe we'll head over to Kimball's, which is an ice cream place next to where Kristian's mom lives. And yeah, it's going to be very chill, I think. I don't think I'm going to go crazy at all. We are actually flying back to Norway on Tuesday evening. So we only have like 24 hours-ish from finishing the race to being on the plane back home. And then we have from a fellow Norwegian. This is from Thomas. And let's see here. He's asking, how do you kill time in Athletes Village before going to the start? This is a great question. Obviously, we've talked about how to get to Athletes Village. You get there through the buses from Boston, or you get it through the bus from a drop-off point out in Hopkinton. I'm doing the latter one, so like we're taking the car from here to that drop-off point, so it's just like a 15-20 minute drive or a bus drive from that drop-off point to Athletes Village. For me last year, it went by really quick. I think that I didn't even properly sit down. For me, it's all about making sure that I get my nutrition. If I'm there for even longer, I would try to find somewhere dry, not too cold. Again, bring enough clothes so you know that you'll be warm enough. As of right now, it looks like it's going to be pretty cold on the morning of the race. So although it might not be wet, it's nice to maybe bring some gloves and a hat. Make sure that you don't get cold. I also think that it's nice to, if you have a lot of time out there, just to make sure that if you are having any snacks or food, have that. Make sure you drink enough, and then also you just like take advantage of the fact that you do have a lot of time, so you can stand in line to go to the bathroom. All of that. Try to meet other people so that you can chat with people. Like obviously, time goes faster if you're a little more social. I really hope that if any of you guys listening to this see me in Athletes Village, that you'll come up and say hi. I would love to meet you guys. I am gonna be there, I assume, between 8 and 8:30, somewhere around there. And try to find someone to hang out with. That is kind of my best advice, and make sure that you have everything. And speaking of Athletes Village, I've seen a lot of questions about like bringing shoes. I am bringing a pair of old shoes that I'm wearing on the morning in Athletes Village, and then I'm gonna have my shoes around my neck, the racing shoes. So I'm not gonna wear those when entering Athletes Village. And it's totally fine to bring your shoes like that. It's not like they have to fit into a small bag or anything like that. Okay, let's see. Have a look at some more of the questions here. So I'm getting a question, what's the official race kit? I have been going back and forth. I was considering running in a speed suit. The one thing that is for sure is that I'm gonna run in Tracksmith. As of right now, it looks like I'm not gonna go with a speed suit. Their speed suit is really cool, really nice, but it's more for shorter distances, and you're not supposed to really run marathons in them, and it doesn't have storage for gels or anything like that. So I'm not gonna wear a speed suit. I'm gonna wear a singlet and half tights from Tracksmith. I am gonna wear a Strada singlet, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna wear a Twilight half tights from Tracksmith, or if I'm gonna wear a Strada half tights. We'll see. I'm going into Boston tomorrow to take a look at that. And then there's a question about where's the post-race drink going to be. This is from Brendan, who I'm doing the Shakeout with. And Brendan, the after drink will probably be at Kristian's sister's house, unless you're there. I know that you're running with your dad, and most likely, I guess, or hopefully, I will be there, finishing before you. So we'll see if I'm able to be there before. And just to be clear here, I'm not saying that I'm faster than Brendan, because we have around the same PR or PB, but I know that he's just fun running this and just enjoying his time with his dad. So that's why I'm able to say that. So probably no exciting answer there, but yeah, I'm sorry about that. Another question from Brendan: how hyped are you for the Shakeout? This is a great one. Obviously, I'm super hyped for the Shakeout. This is gonna be such a cool experience, and I think that the cool thing about this is that regardless of how the race itself is going, I'm gonna be so stoked on Sunday to meet all of you. We're looking at almost 100 people as of right now, if everyone shows up. If you haven't already, go check it out and order your coffee. But having so many people gathered in the morning and running and having fun, it's gonna be great. And also having a photographer there, a videographer there to document all of this, it's gonna be so much fun. And I really, really can't wait to see all of you and to experience this. And honestly, I'm just as hyped for that as I am for the race itself. And last thing before we end this episode about the Boston Marathon, quickly, what should you do over the weekend? There are so many things to do. It's gonna feel a bit overwhelming. And first thing you can do is head over to marathonweekend.com and have a look at what things are going on. For me, I think that some of the pop-ups, some of the brands, some of the stores, those are the things that I really enjoy. There are going to be a lot of shakeouts. For me, I'm definitely going to spend some time at the track house with Tracksmith. If you haven't noticed already, I'm a big fan of theirs. I'm also going to head over to Bandit's store pop-up just to have a look at what they have going on this year. And on Saturday, I'm going to the Shakeout of Life in Stride and Out and Back. Can't wait to meet those guys. We've been, chatting over the last year, and it's going to be nice to actually meet in person. And then it's going to be a tight squeeze, and we need to look at how to actually manage this. But I really want to go to Jeff Cunningham's and Carolyn from Inspired Souls. They have a live event on Saturday as well. That is from 12 to 2, I think. So really recommend going there. I'm definitely going to try to make that happen. So with the Shakeout on Saturday, I might not actually run with the guys. I will show up and say hi at least, show my support, and then I'm going to try to head over to Jeff and Carolyn's event. Other than that, I really recommend kind of just enjoying Boston as a city. It's a beautiful city. Take it in. Make sure that you get a lot of photos. Get a photo at the starting line or finish line, and also just soak in the fact that you are one out of those people who you see around you with the Boston jacket who's actually running the Boston Marathon this year, which is a big deal. It's really, really cool. I personally love Newbury Street. We usually go there whenever we are in Boston. That's where the Tracksmith store is. I really just enjoy going down there, and there will be activations at the Lululemon store, at Nike store. Everyone will have that. I also really recommend heading over to Heartbreak Run store, whether you go to the one on Heartbreak Hill or the one that is in the city. I love that place. I'm gonna get a pair of socks for the race there. Those are the socks that I usually race in, and yeah, those are my recommendations. In terms of food, there are so many options. I'm not gonna tell you which ones you should go get, but just make sure you always have some carbs on you so that you don't snack, or so you have something to snack on. I also think that it's important to remember that there are different situations that for each runner here. For me, I'm racing. For Brendan, who I was mentioning before, he is running with his dad, so maybe like enjoying the marathon weekend more is easier for him than it is for me, as I really want to try to make sure that I don't spend too much time on my feet. And there's definitely a fine balance there between enjoying the Boston weekend and also making sure that you are not showing up on Monday tired from all the walking and doing everything. So I think that you have to make your own decision, figure out what is right for you, but just be aware of the fact that there are so many things to do, and just keep that in mind so that you don't overdo it. But marathonweekend.com is a great place to start, and check out your favorite brands, your favorite podcasts. I'm sure that there are things going on. I was hoping that I could reveal Friday's guest, and I'm gonna risk it. There is obviously a chance that it's falling through, that it's not happening, but I feel very confident, and the team of this person has told me that it is happening, and we've been planning this for a long time. Last year's winner of the Boston Marathon, Sharon Lokedi, is coming on the Marathon Podcast on Friday. And I'm saying this without it being 100% confirmed. It's almost painful to say, because I would hate for it not to happen now that I'm saying it. But that is the plan. Those are the signals that I've gotten, and we're supposed to record on Thursday. I am so excited to chat with Sharon and to hear more from her about her experience with Boston, which is just great and amazing, obviously, and also to hear how she is preparing and how well prepared she is for this year's Boston. Thank you so much for listening to the Marathon Podcast and this whole build up to the Boston Marathon. I really appreciate all of you, and I hope that this was a good one. I know that the solo episodes are not as good as the ones with guests, and it's just me rambling, and sometimes it's a last minute recording, and I'm trying to have a plan, but it's also hard to make these the best ones. But appreciate you being here. Thank you so much, and please come say hi to me if you see me over the weekend or in Athletes Village, and let's make it a good one.